When God says enough, no prayer, no apology, and no tears can reverse what's been sealed in judgment. Let that sink in. For some this will sound harsh, but for the chosen ones who've endured betrayal wrapped in smiles and attacks disguised as concern, it's divine justice finally arriving like a long overdue thunderstorm. Here's a fact that should make you sit up. Over 70% of psychological abusers never think they're wrong, even when caught. That means most of your enemies weren't planning to change. They were just planning to hide it better. God saw that. And contrary to the feel-good fairy tales we've been fed, not everyone gets a last-minute rescue scene. Some enemies aren't in their villain era. They are villains, unrepentant, entitled, and deeply committed to their darkness. So this isn't just another keep smiling through the pain pep talk. This is a divine court session. The verdict is in, and spoiler alert, your enemies will not be saved. And don't worry, God's not asking you to love them into healing anymore. You tried, you prayed, you fasted. They responded with voodoo, gossip, and screenshots. Now it's heaven's turn. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will not only explain why the war against you intensified, but why it's finally over, and why your enemies won't make it out this time. Number 1. Mercy expired the moment they made evil a lifestyle, not a mistake. Mercy expired the moment they made evil a lifestyle, not a mistake. That's the line. And here's the truth behind it. There's a massive difference between someone who messes up and feels conviction, and someone who keeps choosing darkness like it's a daily routine. Many of your enemies were never struggling. They weren't confused. They knew what they were doing. They calculated the harm. They rehearsed the betrayal. They practiced the manipulation. This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. It became their way of life. God doesn't cut people off because of a slip-up. He gives chances. He sends warnings. He speaks through dreams, people, situations, even delays. But when a person takes all of that and still chooses to weaponize their jealousy, feed their pride, and plot harm as if they're clocking into a job, mercy begins to dry up. Not because God lacks compassion, but because he also protects justice. Some people used your grace, your patience, and even your forgiveness as proof that they could keep doing what they were doing and get away with it. They mistook your boundaries for bluffing. They took your kindness for weakness. And most dangerously, they mistook God's silence as permission. But God isn't a doormat. He is long-suffering, but not forever suffering. When evil becomes habitual, when someone hardens their heart after being exposed to truth again and again, heaven responds differently. At that point, we're not talking about a sinner. We're talking about someone who chose rebellion as an identity. And when someone aligns themselves with darkness willingly, they step outside the reach of grace and into the realm of judgment. It's not that God couldn't save them. It's that they didn't want to be saved. They wanted to keep winning by wickedness. But the game is over now, and God is not extending the clock. Enough was enough, and mercy has a finish line. They crossed it. Number 2, they didn't fight you. They fought God's assignment on you. They didn't fight you. They fought God's assignment on you. That's where they messed up. A lot of people came against you thinking it was just you they were targeting. They thought they were gossiping about a person, blocking a promotion, sabotaging a relationship, or trying to make you look small. But they didn't understand the weight of what was on your life. You weren't just a human trying to get by. You were walking around carrying divine orders. You were sent, positioned, and chosen. The war wasn't personal, it was spiritual. They just didn't recognize the rank you carried. The problem is, when someone fights a chosen one, they're not just messing with a person. They're interfering with a plan from heaven. And God doesn't take that lightly. He may let it slide for a while to expose hearts and give people a chance to turn. But eventually, he steps in. Not because you're fragile, but because his purpose is too valuable to be tampered with. That's why their attacks didn't just irritate you. They delayed destiny. They blocked what heaven was trying to build through you. And for that, God holds them accountable. When they gossiped, lied, plotted, and cursed you, they weren't slowing you down. They were trespassing on holy ground. And if there's one thing God doesn't play about, it's his agenda. Many of them thought they were standing up for what's right. Others just enjoyed the power trip. But none of them stopped to ask, Who sent this person? What if I'm opposing someone heaven is backing? That failure to discern costs them everything. What's terrifying is that some of them won't even realize they picked a fight with God until the consequences hit, because the judgment won't feel like lightning from the sky. It'll feel like closed doors, delayed blessings, and spiritual silence. That's how God responds when someone touches his anointed. Quietly, completely, and with finality. They thought it was about you. But they were resisting the very thing God wanted to release through you. And now, heaven's not negotiating. The verdict is sealed.